everyone. Today's a kitchen work day. I have two recipes that I am going to share with you today. They are both a cold brine recipe. So we have some early spring harvests that have come in. We have cherries and we have cauliflower, and we are going to make a cold brine, two separate cold brines out of each of those, and I'm going to show you how to do that. First, we're going to head out to the garden and pick some parsley, thyme, and some other vegetables that I can find to go with our cauliflower.
Little baby cauliflower down in there. That wasn't very big. Let's see if we can find a better carrot in this patch. Here's how I check for my carrots. Just kind of move the soil away, check to see how big they are. Let's see. Oh, much better. Now, this is my favorite type of carrot. See if I can get you down in there so you can see it. Look how cute they are. We need the thyme for our cherries. Take a look at how beautiful this bed is. We have cilantro bolting, which is great for the pollinators. We have red cabbage, we have an early cabbage, we have carrots. Up at that end I have a watermelon, there were some radishes, calendula, all packed here in this bed. This bed is 3 foot wide and it is growing so much food.
All right. We're going to get started on our cold brines. So I have all my jars. They are clean and sanitized. I only brought 4 because we're going to do some small batches today. But these are our cherries. In here we have our carrots, our radishes, we have cauliflower, we have parsley, we have thyme, and we also have some cutting celery. I think those are all the items that we're going to use today. So first off, we're going to start with the easy one. We're going to start with the cherries and the fresh thyme. So my fresh thyme is clean. I'm going to go ahead and layer my cherries and my thyme. And then back here on the stove, I have my cold brine. I did a very basic cold brine recipe, which is just, it's water, vinegar, sugar, salt. So our cold brine recipe that I have already made back here, I used hot, this is cold, so it doesn't need to be hot. I used 3 cups of water and 1 cup of vinegar, 2 tablespoons of salt, and 5 tablespoons of sugar. I do tend to steer away from sugar, but with this recipe, with the cherries and the cauliflower, I thought that the brine needed just a little bit of sweetness. And I did go ahead and use apple cider vinegar. Like I said, this is just a very basic cold brine. You could spice it up with whatever you're feeling, but this is just the extra things that I had today. So go ahead and get started. I do not want to smash my cherries, but I do want to layer them in there with the thyme. And if anybody has a way to quickly pit cherries, because this is what I use, just a cherry pitter, man, it took me a long time. So we're just going to layer them in there. Sometimes just a quick cold brine, when you have extra vegetables or fruits, it's just fast and it's easy. I do love canning for preserving. I do that as well, but I do that with pickles, beets, tomatoes. I also do pressure canning of green beans and carrots. And if you've ever done any canning, you know that it takes a while. I do want to go ahead and leave a little bit of headspace, even though this is a cold brine and it's going in our refrigerator. We are just going to leave a little bit. So put a little more time in there. I'm going to go to the next one. I hope I have enough cherries because I don't want to have to go hit more, but I will. I don't have a cherry tree here. I got them from my father-in-law. So you don't always have to have things here at your house to be able to preserve. My favorite thing to grow is definitely herbs, though, because the cost of those things in the store is outrageous. And this time here, I've grown it for as long as I can remember, but I have a huge patch in multiple different places because I just keep planting it. Right. Now it's packed in there, but it's not squished. There's a difference. I do have a few cherries left, so we can go ahead and eat those. I want everything to be covered. When things are exposed to oxygen, that is when they go bad. Whoop. This is kombucha. My sister made it. I love to drink it in a champagne glass. It's the middle of the afternoon. I'm not having a glass of champagne just yet. Although you could if you want to. Okay. Pack that down in there. You can use a funnel too. I just didn't. And we're going to set these off to the side. I will put lids on them. And I'll put them in our refrigerator for 2 weeks-ish. And then I'll taste them. Sometimes I get antsy and I taste them before that, but you never know what you're feeling. All right, looking at my cauliflower and all my toppings, I might not have big enough jars, but oh, and these are garlic scapes. I forgot to mention that. Garlic scapes, they grow on, if you've ever grown garlic, there'll be this flower that forms out the top, and you're supposed to pick them so that your garlic has a bigger bud or a bigger bulb on it. And so I picked these. All right, let's go ahead and cut all of our cabbage. Our cauliflower. This bowl over here is for my chickens. I always have a chicken bowl. My chicken love the scraps. They love harvest season because they get so much. All right, so I am going to just cut this into bite-sized pieces. I don't want anything huge. I'm going to get all my cauliflower cut up, and then I'll cut my carrots and my radishes. I'm actually going to go get a bigger jar because I know I do not have enough space. And now that I look at it, I probably don't have enough brine either. So I meant to make extra brine so that I could keep it in my fridge. And that way, the next time I have something that I want to cold brine, it's available. I just put it in a jar, brine it, stick it in the fridge. It makes it very easy, but that's okay. This is cutting celery. It's just the leaves. I forgot that I had actually planted it. I thought it was parsley until I tasted it, and then I remembered. That's why I have to label things sometimes. But you just want the leaves. You don't want the stems. At least I don't want the stems for this recipe. If I was making my bone broth, I would definitely want the stems. And I can keep them, but nothing is wasted when it goes to the chickens because the chickens give me eggs. All right. So we have those two. It is very late in the season for radishes, so they are going to be spicy. But that's okay. I'm just putting a couple in each jar. It's just as like a flavoring. And if you're wondering what what am I going to use this stuff with? How do I use this? Well, the cherries, the cold brine cherries, I am hoping to use them with like sourdough bread, butter, and some very nice cherries on top. I think that would be delicious. I also plan to use them in drinks. I like to drink kombucha and other like mocktail type of drinks in the summer. So that I think is going to make a really great garnish for some of my drinks. Other than that, I just really like to just eat them. I eat a lot of just raw vegetables, so if that's not your thing. This cold brine vegetable medley that we have here, I'm going to slice the radishes. I love to serve that alongside of my husband makes an excellent smoked beef roast. They go great with that. You can also use it anything that's going to be like rich and meaty and full fat and flavor. You can use something that's a little bit sour to go on the side of it, something that's crunchy. So even like a pasta dish, you could serve it with that. You can serve it with any kind of grilled meat, a great T-bone steak it would be delicious with, things like that. Or, like I said, just eat it as a snack. Tuna sandwich with this pickled veg on the side, delicious. There's many times that we make dinner and then our vegetables that we have on the side is pickles and beets. I've had that since I was a kid. Let's see what else we need. We're just gonna kind of dice up. My cutting board's not quite big enough today. We got a lot going on. This is going to make such a beautiful jar. I'm so excited. I don't particularly like to eat the actual flower heads, so if you do, go ahead. So we are going to start with our big jar, and then we'll move to our smaller jar. So we're just going to layer everything in here. Sorry, that's kind of loud. That's how my grandma taught me to do it. These vegetables are harder. They're not quite as tender as our cherries are. So if you see me really pushing them down in there, that's because whenever they start to in the fridge react with the brine, they're going to release a little bit of water and they're going to get soft, but then they're going to float. So to save my jar space and save as much space, I really pack those in there. And that goes for anything that's a little bit harder and can take that. My cherries, on the other hand, I did not want to damage them. So if you're wondering what the difference is. Right. Start with the big one. See how beautiful that is? All those colors. It just brightens up a plate whenever you serve it. Now, I don't have enough, so I will make more, but I won't bore you with that. And that's it. These go in the refrigerator. Put a lid on them, and there you have cold brine cauliflower with spring vegetables, and you have cherries and thyme.
Here's an update on that sauerkraut project we worked on. This is how much it made. It is finished. We have a half gallon, a quart, and a pint. The pint is going to go to my dad, and the rest I will leave here. So we started out at 5 pounds of cabbage, and this is the finished sauerkraut. I guess I can't really call it sauerkraut. It's more of a flavored fermented cabbage.